So for those of you who didn't catch the last session, I'm Daniel Casanas, Head of Investments at the SDF, running the Enterprise Fund, which is a venture-style vehicle for making equity-based investments into companies benefiting the Stellar ecosystem. So on my left here, our exceptional panelists today have raised capital in one way or another from the Stellar Development Foundation, and we're super proud to have them as our portfolio companies. Collectively, these businesses have raised in and around between kind of $40 and $50 million. So when the SDF makes investments, we can do so on the smallest level, from a seed company all the way up through kind of Series E. So if you're in the audience today and you're looking for us to kind of entertain funding propositions, please reach out to us. So I thought it'd be interesting. Let's start with a round of introductions.
Hey everyone, my name is Matt. I lead the blockchain team at Tala.
Hi, my name is Ian McAfee, the co-founder of Shift Markets. We're a technology firm that services mostly financial institutions, enabling them with blockchain technology.
Hi, my name is Albán. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Puntored. We are a company based in Latin America, and we serve people, so base of the pyramid, people that want to get paid and make payments easily. We were not born in blockchain or crypto. We are new to this environment, and we are getting started with Stellar, definitely. So we operate in Colombia, Mexico, Puerto Rico. I'm very happy to be here with you guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruth Hidalgo. I am CEO and co-founder of Cash Abroad. Cash Abroad is a B2B cross-border payment solution for exporters and importers. I'm so happy to be here with everyone from the Stellar community.
Thank you so much for the intros. So first question is just on the business model and the value proposition. Can you guys go into some more detail as to what your company's business model is and how that business model plans or intends to use and leverage blockchain?
Sure. So Tala is the largest financial platform that serves the financially underserved. And so we started 10 years ago offering credit access as our flagship products to people who are largely excluded from the financial ecosystem. And so we see blockchain as a way to more rapidly expand into new markets and provide access in countries that would be difficult to expand to otherwise, as well as move into other financial suite of products beyond the short-term flagship credit product that we have today.
So yeah, Shift Markets, we do, we started off doing FX brokers. So we help our clients launch a platform that lets them interact with their clients. And it's mostly a B2B model. And we let our clients trade there. We do like sort of a SaaS model. We got into crypto around 2016. And we did that because we saw how powerful instant settlement could be with just, with finance and trading. And I think it was at the first Meridian in Mexico City, if that was the first one, in 2018, 2019. And we're improving more and more ways that you can do settlement with finance. So we want to focus a lot on the FX market, $7 trillion per day market, largest market in the world. Still not on the blockchain, right? Still, I think, the best use case for the blockchain. And it is needed, especially for a lot of the payments applications that need to be built and help these communities. So we want to build out sort of a marketplace where you can trade from one currency to another, skipping through the dollars, skipping through all the fees, do it 24 hours a day, and really change how FX can be traded globally.
Okay, so our business model, we started 20 years ago, so we've been around for a while now. And if you went to Colombia, for example, 20 years ago, it was very difficult for people to make even the most basic transactions, pay bills, make a cell phone top-up, receive government benefits. And for them, even if somebody wanted to receive a government benefit, probably they will have to go from one town into a larger city, and it will take a long time. And if they were going to receive $40 of a government benefit, it would cost them even $10 to go and get it. So we decided to solve this issue and help people get paid and make payments easier. And we do it basically 3 ways. The first one is we built a large bank agent network or agent network in Colombia, now in Mexico, in other countries, where people in a small merchant near their houses could get this type of payments done easily. So we started as a cash-based business doing cash-in and cash-out operations, and it's very, very large nowadays. We serve around 20 million people in LATAM every month. And to do that, also, we needed to do a lot of connections with financial institutions, with telcos, with governments, all across Latin America. We have around 300 large enterprises that work with us. And in the recent years, with changes in open finance and other regulations, we were able to offer these connections as APIs. So digital newcomers into the market, so neobanks, wallets, that needed to integrate into the payments ecosystem are using our rails, our alternative rails, which are mainly P2P or from a person to a merchant or a business to a person rails to do payouts and pay-ins. And the third business we are into, we created an app because what we understand is that small merchants in Latin America are, we believe that they are like the most difficult part to get into the system, and we created an app so they can get paid through alternative payment methods. We don't use any card payments, but we do P2P and other kind of stuff. And that's the type of business we are into. This year we are going to be processing around $8 billion in total transactions. So yeah, that's our model.
That's amazing.
Well, our business model is we're building the trade finance platform, which is going to run on the blockchain. So we have 2 main business models. So the first one is payments. So we give a wallet, an enterprise wallet, to exporters and importers that are conducting trade. And with this wallet, they can get better benefits, such as they can do 24/7 payments, the cost is more affordable, and they have great speed. So to put it into perspective, when you open right now a bank account to conduct trade finance, you have to go to 3 main roadblocks. So the first one is to open an account. The second one is to add a new currency, and the third one is to operate that account. So the first one is that because we are blockchain-based, all our process of onboarding is really simple and it's online, so it takes about 10 minutes to open an account and to get accepted. And the second one is that when you add a currency, what is different to what is happening right now is that when you want to add dollars, you have to go again to the bank and take another 8 hours and a whole process to add another currency and then another currency. With us, it's not like that, because with the Just Add Trust line, which costs under $1, you can add USDC, you can add USD, so it's really affordable and it's really practical. And in terms of payment, as I said, you have 24/7 service. All your payments are at internet speed. And also, of course, our main offer is the conversions to USDC, when for pesos to USDC, which you can then send to your US dollar account. So this is better because you are offering better rates. Currently, banks are adding between 2 and 5% spread on top of your conversions, so you are losing a lot of money if you're a trader. And with us, that amounts, it's around 1% in your spreads.
So I'm kind of incredibly proud of this team, because we've worked together in one capacity or another during the funding process and during the kind of scaling process. So the Enterprise Fund really evaluates businesses based off of 4 key pillars. The first is financial inclusion globally, right? Does it fit the Stellar mandate? The second, it would be a typical VC type analysis, right? What's their fundamentals in terms of financials? The third is a technical compatibility, right? Is the business that they're building, do they have the people on their team to actually integrate onto Stellar and do what they say they're going to do? And the fourth is a pretty in-depth legal DD whereby we kind of examine, our legal team goes way deep into the data room and understands what they do. These folks have passed that with flying colors. And the piece that I think we should chat about a bit is the financial inclusion piece, right? Your businesses across the board help people in some way, shape, or form. Can you guys go a bit deeper into kind of how you think Stellar and the utilization of Stellar and what you guys are doing actually benefits the end consumer far more than you would have done if you hadn't integrated onto Stellar or planned to? Any one of you?
Yeah, I think with global trade, right, the more fees get chopped off and going to intermediaries, it sometimes eats into the profit margins in a very big way, right? So if you're trading some commodity or good or service, and you're paying, and your margin is, say, 5–10%, if you're paying 5% in fees to somebody, you really quickly realize that it's not really an even playing field, right? So you're always having to go back to the dollar and kind of always thinking about that, and then the exchange rate risk that carries presents problems for people that operate in different currencies. So I think some of us share that sort of value proposition. I think our role in that is that we want to facilitate the marketplace between the currencies, where we're not necessarily looking at any one individual currency, but looking for ways for partners in the ecosystem, like people on stage here, to make prices into that marketplace so the end users can benefit and the companies that really need that access, right, can benefit as well. So just speaking for that generally, but also for us, is to really get that marketplace out there and make this market more approachable and fair for most companies out there.
Yeah. Can I
go for it?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we were born as a cash-based transactional company platform, and that's how we grew. And probably that gives us this knowledge and this edge of our economies. Colombia probably has 60% of their transactions in cash. Mexico around 70%. And it's really difficult for countries to evolve, and if there is no real adoption of digital transactions in terms of security, in terms of tax collection, in terms of different issues. So definitely, and since we've been around for a while, we were preparing our business so cash would disappear from our economy much faster. That what happened, and it hasn't happened really. If you see the figures in recent days, cash still around in many of the economies. So in that sense, the first issue is definitely we believe that one of the main barriers is cost for people. And in terms of cost, we believe that having different solutions for people in cross-border or even in local payments will bring down those barriers, and that's something we are exploring with Stellar and seeing how we can work around those costs. In some economies, for example, banks are the main participants in the wallets. For example, in Colombia, there are large banks that are the main players in the wallet industry, and they are bringing costs down. Of course, it's not as costly as a normal bank account, but what we really believe that definitely it should be more open ecosystems, and competition is always the best way to bring down costs as well. And also definitely there are some issues around taxation for small businesses, and of course, and there's also a fourth issue that is savings. We work with many of these small merchants, and we started seeing in our core agent system that some of these small merchants were making deposits. We are not a bank. And we were saying, no, our compliance officer, whatever, was saying, you cannot keep this money. And we were asking them, what happened? Why are you putting deposits into our core systems? And they say, no, because I just sold some cows, whatever, and I want to put deposits because there are a lot of issues around security and everything. And definitely everything that has to do with savings and USDC and providing this type of solutions, we believe that also will help a lot of the ecosystem. So we have a bunch of different projects, and we are very excited. We are new. We started working with Stellar recently, so this is all underway, but we believe we can definitely do some interesting things for financial inclusion down there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything you said, and also with you, Ian, because it's true. I mean, if you make businesses more connected and you make everything more affordable to them, you're also strengthening the relationship of your own country, right? So you are strengthening the trade relationships. I actually saw that you talked with Tim Draper, and well, his family is the one that founded the trade finance bank in the US, Exim Bank. So that bank was a key bank in the growth of the country because it strengthens relationships, it makes better partners. So as we mentioned right now, what benefits blockchains could bring, I think blockchain has the potential to bring that into new business use case, but to current business, right? To businesses that are already operating and how they can harness these new benefits, which is low-cost transactions, better spreads, faster communication, faster technology. So yeah, I think in general, blockchain is going to bring a lot of value to everyday businesses and to everyday trade relationships in general.
Yeah, I think very similar to something everyone has mentioned, that it's a more efficient transaction system, and being able to pass on cost savings to customers. You know, in our case, being able to disperse loans more efficiently, cheaper, we can then pass on those savings to customers. In addition to that, for us, we have a really successful credit product that there's a lot of demand globally for from a population that has been underserved. But we're dependent on local rails in order to disperse those loans. And so really specifically with the Stellar Anchor Network, this reduces very significantly the cost, the upfront cost it requires to enter a new market, because we're not going in and running a market-specific local rails integration. With the Anchor Network, it's a standard set of APIs that we can immediately leverage and use to be able to disperse our product, which opens up financial access, and specifically with markets that you know would be difficult in size, for example, to justify that local rails integration.
That's all really insightful. I actually, the financial inclusion piece is something that is easy to spot when it's just kind of the cherry on top versus it being a kind of fundamental layer of the sundae, so to speak. You know, fundraising. Let's talk real quick about fundraising. There's a lot of folks here that, in one way or another, are seeking funding, right? 2023 was a little bit rough in terms of crypto fundraising. Things stalled up a bit. We're seeing now in 24 things pick back up, thankfully. Your experience fundraising at the SDF, right? Give some pointers to these folks as to what it really means to engage with us. You know, what did you learn throughout the process? You know, the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, it's kind of a weird spot to be in, but you know, go for it.
Yeah, clearly a delight because you're working with Dan here. And honestly, though, it's been great working with Dan and the team, Jerry and others. We've been working with Stellar a long time, and you know, it's to work with people you respect and share your values is super important. I think you talk to a lot of people, potential investors that don't have 4 pillars, right? They might have 1, and it's a pretty narrow scope. So you're kind of constantly looking for, you know, do you fit into that, or should you try and fit into that scope? Where when there are really more than one consideration, and you're really hitting those things, it's a really good fit. Talking to Stellar and the team. Yeah, I mean, we talked to a lot of people, and we went with Stellar, right? So Stellar led our round. We're really excited about that. It was this year, and that's still going. But just what we've done so far, we're super happy about it, and there's all positive things to say about the experience.
Okay. In our case, we were mainly a bootstrap, or we are mainly a bootstrap company, basically because in Colombia, year 2004, no VCs, nobody wanted to invest there, so it was very difficult to raise money. So the first years, definitely we have to work with our own capacities and generate cash and reinvest and grow the company from there. So we came late into the raising necessity, really. And we had a lot of conversation with different VCs or private equities at different stages, and we didn't really found this kind of fits with the type of business model because they didn't understand how difficult it was probably to open a bank agent in the middle of the jungle in Colombia, and how we had to take so many years to build this type of relation with the communities. And of course, VCs, they have maybe some of them 5 years to recover the money, whatever. So we didn't really have the same objectives of many of these guys in terms of understanding our business. So when I met Dan, and that was in Money 2020, probably 4 or 5 years ago, since we don't come from the crypto or the blockchain space, I had never really heard of Stellar. But it was very interesting because that first meeting was like we had this click around financial inclusion and the real objectives of what we were building. And in that sense, the conversation from there was very interesting because we decided to involve very early the tech teams, which I think it's very important in that case. So for us to understand what we could do with the blockchain, also the legal aspects and everything for them to be able to understand how was our business model and how we work, the compliance issues. And from there, I think it was quite interesting because Stellar did a great job understanding, and we were very straightforward, like saying, this is what we want to do, this is our needs, we are at this stage, we have some of our shareholders that are at different stages. As founders, we have some other needs. And from there, I think you guys did a great job understanding and coming into a very specific discussion of the business that we were able to do. This was, it took a long, probably a year to come to terms, but apart from that, it has been very interesting, the whole process.
Yeah, well, actually, in our case, we started completely with Stellar. I remember that it was around 2 years ago when we saw, I don't know what social media was, but we saw an ad of an event that was going to happen in Mexico City. It was going to be an event of a startup weekend and Stellar, and we went there. We actually just decided like one day before and took a trip of 15 hours or something. We actually didn't even have 2 computers. We had to ask someone to let us a computer. And it's funny because I remember at the event they say like, oh, you brought a huge computer. Oh my God, that's so good. And I was, it's not even mine. But yeah, well, anyway, we started out with a startup weekend in Stellar, and after that, we applied some months after that for a grant, which we didn't want. But after that, we like retrieve and say, hey, what do we need to do better? Which is, I think that's the right approach within the Stellar ecosystem, because grants are something that you are going to be, as you scale, you're going to be needing like probably bigger grants, but you also need to prove more and more that your business works depending on the grant that you are going for. So in that sense, we then reapplied to another grant, and we got our first grant, and we were so happy because with that, it allowed us to bring new people, start the first team, developer team, and we started now building the MVP. And then we applied for another grant because, as you know, legal and compliance is really, really expensive. So we used that next grant for that. And we have been going, we have now got 3 grants in total in Stellar. We also went to the former startup camp. I don't know what it's name right now. But we went through that. And that was also an amazing week because in that week, we got to do a design thinking session. So in that design thinking session, we got to build a prototype. And so we designed it, build it, and test it in just 1 week with a lot of mentors that enhanced that prototype. So we went through that. And most recently, actually, this year, we participated in the Techstars payment, which is also a partnership with Stellar. We went through that. We got our demo day. We already launched. And, well, we are so happy because if it is anyone in the audience that wants to apply to Stellar grant or some other type of funding, I'll say that the right approach is to try, and even if you are rejected, you need to try again. But you need to get better to try again. That's all we'll say. And Stellar is going to be with you since the beginning of your journey and going forward. And I say this because in LATAM, getting funding is really complicated, and often valuations are very punished, and also they require you to be mostly on a later stage, but that is not an actual possibility for every team. So with Stellar, we found the right place to grow, so we're very grateful for that.
So you have Tala, which is our biggest holding on the far left there, or your far right. Then it kind of decreases in size. And then you have someone who's gotten grants and who's kind of making their way up through the Stellar ecosystem funding routes. And what this highlights is that if you are anywhere from developer all the way through a later stage company seeking funding, reach out to us. If you're looking to explore utilizing Stellar, reach out to us. If you're looking to be multi-chain, reach out to us. There's kind of somewhere in the ecosystem that you'll fit if the kind of 4 main pillars are satisfied. I want to use the last couple minutes here just to talk about your business models and your competitive edges, right? Where are you looking at scaling? How are you looking at kind of growing over the next 5 years? How are you utilizing Stellar and frankly, so many of the other resources that are at your disposal to kind of meaningfully increase presence or users or whatever the metrics are that you guys hold dear?
So I think this is probably relevant for a lot of people, but I think it's important when you're working with blockchain technology to pair it with something else that needs the technology, right? There's a lot of sort of blockchain-only startups and things like that just look for the next hot thing. I think our background in financial trading and FX, there's a strong use case for why that should be paired with the blockchain. And it's not just, slap blockchain on it and go raise funding, right? Although you could try and do that. I think, a longer-term approach, right, that is why do you need to use a blockchain and how? And really think through that creatively. There's so many use cases that aren't done yet. We're still on memes and NFT. We've done speculation only, right? Now we have stablecoins are a real use case, and people are trading crypto and things like that. But let's look for some real use cases, right? Let's actually use the blockchain for what it's meant for. And I think that's where our background comes in. Like settlement is a very obvious use case for finance. Like, why do you need all these different people to use paperwork to say that, we traded with each other, right? It doesn't need to be that complicated. It's a very simple concept. You're transferring ownership of an asset, right, from one party to another. And if you think about it that way and how powerful that really is, there's so many things that could be revolutionized by the technology, right? And again, I think where we're focusing on is the financial sector, and FX in particular, being it's a large use case, right? So our background's in that. We started there since 2009. We do a few billion a day in FX trades, right? And we want to bring as much of that as possible on chain for all the reasons stated earlier. So that's where we are focusing, and really hope to move the needle.
I think we have time for one short answer, and then we're going to get yanked off. So one of you guys, go for it.
Well, yes, we believe in bringing, as Ian says, more real use case to the real world. So in our case, in the case of Cash Abroad, we want to bring also trade finance loans with the smart contracts with Sorban. But in general, it's, as we're all agreeing right now, it's bringing the blockchain benefits, and especially the seller benefits, to real-world use cases. And you should be all focusing on the consumers at the end and the users, because the benefits need to be translated to them. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Meet the Stellar Portfolio Companies.